Chapter 3. The Big Game. On Friday night, I went to the student center. There were a lot of people there, and Jenny was wearing a long dress and singing. 3 or 4 other people were in the group with her, and they made a good sound. Jenny saw me and smiled, and I sat on the floor and listened. It was wonderful. They played for about an hour, and I was lying back with my eyes closed, listening happily. How did it happen? I'm not sure, but suddenly I found that I was playing my harmonica with them. Jenny stopped singing for a second or two, and the others in the group stopped playing. Then Jenny laughed and began to sing with my harmonica, and then everybody was saying, "Wonderful!" to me. Jenny came to see me. "Forrest, where did you learn to play that thing?" "I didn't learn anywhere," I told her. Well, after that, Jenny asked me to play with their group every Friday and paid me $25 every time. The only other important thing that happened to me at the university was the big game at the Orange Bowl in Miami that year. It was an important game which Coach Bryant wanted us to win. The game started, and the ball came to me. I took it and ran straight into a group of big men on the other team. Crash! It was like that all afternoon. When they were winning 28-7, Coach Bryant called me across. "Forrest," he said, "all year we have secretly taught you to catch the ball and run with it. Now you're going to run like a wild animal, okay?" "Okay, Coach," I said. And I did. Everybody was surprised to see that I could catch the ball. Suddenly, it was 28-14. And after I caught it 4 or 5 more times, it was 28-21. Then the other team got 2 men to run after me, but that meant Gwyn was free to catch the ball, and he put us on the 15-yard line. Then Weasel, the kicker, got a field goal, and it was 28-24. But then things began to go wrong again. Weasel made a bad mistake, and then the game finished, and we were the losers. Coach Bryant wasn't very happy. "Well, boys," he said, "there's always next year." But not for me. I soon learned that. I couldn't stay at the university. I wasn't clever enough at the lessons, and there was nothing that anybody could do about it. Coach Bryant was very sad. "I knew this would happen, Forrest," he said. "But I said to them, just give me that boy in my team for a year. And they did. And we had a good year. The best year, Forrest. Good luck, boy." Bubba helped me to put my things in my suitcase. Then he walked to the bus with me to say goodbye. We went past the student center, but it wasn't Friday night, and Jenny's band wasn't playing. I didn't know where she was. It was late when the bus got to Mobile. Mom knew that I was coming, but she was crying when I got home. "What's wrong?" I asked. "A letter came," she cried. "You've got to go in the Army." Chapter 4. Vietnam. After I left the idiot school, people were always shouting at me. Coach Fellers, Coach Bryant, and then the people in the Army. But I have to say this: the people in the Army shouted louder and longer than anybody. Fort Benning was in Georgia. After about 100 hours on a bus, me and a lot of other new young soldiers arrived there. The place where I had to live was just a bit better than the rooms at the university, but the food was not. It was terrible. Then, and in the months to come, I just had to do the things that I was told to do. They taught me how to shoot guns, throw hand grenades, and move along the ground on my stomach. One day, the cook was ill, and somebody said, "Gump, you're going to be the cook today." "What am I going to cook?" I said. "How do I cook?" "It's easy," said one of the men. "Just put everything that you see in the food cupboard into a big pot and cook it." "Maybe it won't taste very good," I said. "Nothing does in this place," he said. He was right. Well, I got tins of tomatoes, some rice, apples, potatoes, and everything that I could find. "What am I going to cook it in?" I asked one of the men. "There are some pots in the cupboard," he said, but the pots were only small. "You've got to find something," one of the other men said. "What about this?" I asked. There was a big metal thing about 6 feet tall and 5 feet round, sitting in the corner. "That's the boiler. You can't cook anything in that." "Why not?" I asked. "It's hot. It's got water in it." But the men had other things to do. "Do what you like," they said. So I used the boiler. I put everything in it, and after about an hour, you could smell the cooking. It smelled okay. Then the men came back, and everybody was waiting for their dinner. "Hurry up with that food, Gump! We're hungry!" they shouted. Suddenly, the boiler began to shake and make noises, and then it blew up. It blew the food all over us, me, and all the men who were sitting at the tables. "Gump!" they screamed. "You're an idiot!" But I already knew that. After a year, we went to Vietnam to fight in the war. One evening, we went to have a shower. The showers were just a long hole in the ground for us to stand in, while somebody threw water over us. We were standing in it when suddenly there was a strange noise. Then the ground began to blow up all round us. We threw ourselves onto the floor of the shower hole, and somebody started screaming. It was some of our men on the far side of the hole, and there was blood all over them. Then everything went quiet again, and after a minute or two, the rest of us climbed up out of the hole. The enemy soldiers tried to blow us up for the next 5 nights, and then it stopped. But it was time for us to move up north to help some of our other men in the jungle. We went in helicopters, and there was smoke coming up out of the jungle when we got there. The enemy started shooting at us before we got on the ground, and they blew up one of our helicopters. It was terrible. People on fire, and nothing that we could do. It was almost night before we found our other soldiers in the jungle. And who do you think one of them was? It was Bubba. Well, in between the shooting, Bubba told me about himself. His foot got too bad to play football, and he had to leave the university. But his foot wasn't too bad for the army to get him, and here he was. "What happened to Jenny Curran?" I asked. "She left school and went off with a group of people who were against the war," he said.